Hey everyone, Gaijin here. Oh boy, man. I'm looking at my notes of stuff that I want to talk about, and strap yourselves in. This may be a bit of a long one. Just the mic. Let me kind of get to the heart of everything, and this is possibly going to be the stuff that I'm going to be putting up on a video. So let me talk really quick about my goals for 2022, because I think it's a good idea for me to kind of reflect on what's been happening in 2021 and what I really want to accomplish in 2022. And it's got nothing to do with viewership, it's got nothing to do with growth, although that is always nice. I need to take stock a bit more on what I'm doing and what I've been doing. Trying to do 15-minute some odd videos once a week, maybe even like once a week, and then I go every other week for one time and then go back to once a week. This is killing me. And I know a lot of my longtime supporters have heard me already complain about this for a long time. But the problem that I'm having is that I will want to crank out this big old video with all of this analysis, right? And then as soon as I'm done with it, I'm dead. Like, I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired. And the one thing that I've been looking into as a possible alleviation for this, and it's the thing that I really should be doing, is to create slightly shorter videos. So we're talking the 8 to 10 minute max length versus the 14 to 18 to sometimes 20 minute length. Because those have been absolute killers on my health, my sanity, and quite a bit on my interests. But the problem I've been finding isn't necessarily like, oh, well, I need to make the algorithm happy. I don't give a damn about the algorithm anymore. I really don't. It's gonna do its own thing, and whether or not I'm able to stay in this business and keep making the content that I love for people to learn and consume, that's gonna be up to viewership. That's gonna be up to the people who want to be financially supportive. I've had a lot of people tell me throughout the last 10 years that I've been doing this content, man, you really are like the BBC of YouTube. And you know what? BBC's still around. BBC's been around for a very, very, very long time, and while they've never been super huge, they're still around. So I'll tell you what, I will be happy to play the long game in that way. Definitely. No, the problem is that I keep finding more and more stuff to talk about. I've had a couple of friends, I've even had a couple of editors look at me and they're like, Gaijin, you're talking about so many things, and it just kind of doesn't matter that much. I mean, it's interesting, but it plays such a small bit role in the overarching thing that you're talking about. And that's something that I actually tweeted out not too long ago. It's like, hey, guys and gals and everybody else, it's like, are my videos too gabby? Are they too wordy? Would it be better to just kind of get to the plopping point and move on from there? Or do you like the fact that I'm going into every little ounce and detail of everything? And the majority response that I'm getting back is that people really do actually like the fact that I am talking about every little thing. And like I said a little bit before, or maybe not, this video coming up, this Bishaten video, it's 17 minutes long and it's covering every little detail. But even then, there are little bits of it that I've not been able to acknowledge because there's just no time. So I understand that people want to come to my content because of all of the minute details, but the minute details are also really dragging the process along of making this very difficult. And I don't want to start doing multiple part episodes and multiple part videos because those always have a diminishing return. It's like people will watch the first video and then they'll see that it's a part 2 of the next video, and then a lot less people watch it. It's a lot less engaging, and I personally don't want that. I want people to always feel engaged with what it is that I'm putting out there. So, I mean, that's just kind of that problem right now, is trying to figure out a good balance between workload, you know, realistic workload, and how long these videos should be, versus how much detail do I want to cram pack. Basically, how much I want to stuff into one particular video. It's been a lot to think about. It's always been drilled in my head that, you know, the longer video you make, the better it's going to do, and I really don't know if that's really the case anymore, considering how hard YouTube has been pushing shorts as of late. And that's something that I definitely experimented with. I really, really wanted to try and make something work with shorts, but the problem with shorts is that they're not monetizable at all. I've heard from people 3-4 million viewed shorts making I don't know, $3, give or take. And granted, it's not a huge investment to put into a short, but I'm also seeing some other channels who are like, their shorts are sort of taking over the attention of their mainstay videos, and that's kind of dangerous, especially if shorts aren't really monetizable. YouTube says that they have this fund set aside that they're paying people out depending on how they perform, and it's like, if a video that gets 3 million views cannot make more than $3, there's a problem with that. So, I don't know. That's just one of the many things that I've been reflecting on for 2020. The other has been my ongoing fight with imposter syndrome. Because, man, you want to talk about suffering. You want to talk about unspoken suffering that content creators do not talk about ever. Man, that's a good one. Now, imposter syndrome has a whole lot of different forms. I've seen a couple websites where there's like 6, 7 different types. I fall under the expert imposter syndrome type, which is basically never being satisfied with their level of understanding and always want to learn more. And on the surface, that doesn't seem like necessarily a bad thing. I've always been a fervent believer of putting the necessity of education, challenging one's norms and ideas of the world, to challenge those things heavily. To always evolve your thinking, to always evolve your perceptions on things. But the dark side that comes with that is that you never will feel like you know enough, and you always feel like that other people know more than you, and people will always know more than you, but you start to devalue what you bring to the table with your own knowledge. Like, case in point, I've been watching 2 particular YouTubers. I've worked with one of them, would love to work with the other, but that just hadn't gone off the ground. I've been watching Shogo and Nobita, 2 very, very good Japanese YouTubers who have passed on a lot of great educational content. They still make great content. They still make really wonderful educative content. They are bilingual. They are in Japan. And I'm sitting here and I'm learning so much from them. Like, it's been 10 years. It's been a little bit more, actually, than 10 years since I've been living in Japan. Granted, I went back every single year from 2015 up until Corona dropped. But that's really not, 2 weeks is not enough time to really get a good feel for how things are changing geopolitically, socially, yada yada yada. But these 2 guys and other YouTubers like them, they're keeping completely up to date. So what ends up happening is I'm sitting here thinking to myself, am I still qualified? Do I still have the right to claim that I have any sort of influence, or not influence, but any sort of strong understanding in order to teach concepts? I mean, I'm sure some of you have noticed by now, I haven't uploaded anything to the Gaijin Perspective channel in months at this point, and this is exactly the reason why. Is that I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the content that I've made over, the months prior to that, a couple months prior to that, and it's not been really engaged. I don't know if people have been really taking much from what I have to say, and I know there are a decent number of people out there that are like, yeah, I like the opinions that you have. I think they're valid and important just like any others. But at the same time, it's like, am I really adding anything to the table, or am I just throwing noise on the table? I've seen other YouTubers completely shut down their career because they feel like that they're just adding noise and not anything with any sort of due diligence or understanding. That's why Gaijin Perspective hasn't had an upload in Lord knows how long, is because I look at these other people and like, I feel like they do it so much more effortlessly and better than I do. And the fact that they're in Japan, and Lord knows when I'm going to be able to get back, even just to visit. Not even just to move on with the projects that I want to do, because I have a lot of projects that I want to do that requires me to be there, but just to go over. I have no idea when that's going to happen. The last I heard from the Japanese government, they said that in the general future, I know that they've said that it was going to be up through February, where it's going to be the whole no foreigner allowed in, student or otherwise, worker or otherwise. But if I know the Japanese government, like I think I do, it's going to be longer than that. I've lived through a lot of Japanese bureaucracy, in my many years of doing this. And yeah, I get the feeling that it's probably going to be 2024, 2025 before I can even hope to move. I don't know. I hate to be a pessimist, but man, oh man, if any of you know anything about Japanese bureaucracy, bleh. But one of the things that's kind of kept me going, and because I've talked to a couple of my Japanese friends about this, some of them who are here where I live, and some of them who are still back in Tokyo and some of the other areas, they're like, well, yeah, a lot of people could want to go to a primary source to learn about basic information, but you know, the idea behind your perspective, a Gaijin perspective, still has merit because it is a completely different perspective. You know, it may not be the most accurate thing, but maybe that's not what people are looking for. People may not be looking for accuracy with these topics. They may be looking for what other people think, or even relate to. And that's the one thing that's kind of bouncing me back from all of this, and I'm hoping, I'm hoping that's still going to be worthwhile. You know, it's crazy. For the last 2 years, I've been sitting here so angry at the fact that re-entry for foreigners in Japan has been completely locked out. How entitled is that, you know? How unrealistic is that? 5.5 million people have died of COVID, and I've been seeing and am still seeing my family suffer under this illness. How entitled am I to sit here and complain at the fact that, oh, Japan's not letting us back in? But at the same time, I still cannot shake off these stupid entitled feelings, because at the tail end of 2019, I had huge plans start to develop. I mean, maybe not compared to other content creators, but these were huge plans to me. And there are still so many individuals and companies that want to get involved with these plans. And it's been 2 years now, and I don't even know if those same opportunities are there. I don't know if they're going to be there by the time that I'm able to get back into it. And all this does is beat down my imposter syndrome so hard, to the point where making content is really difficult. With the exception of the regular, like, analysis video of culture in games and anime and things like that. It's something I've been doing for a long time. I know how to do it. I know how to find stuff, and I still enjoy doing it. I don't want this to come across as me not enjoying it. But at the same time, it's like, I want to move on. I want to do it, but I also want to really, really dig into all these other new ideas that I have, all these other things that I can do. Like, Gaijin Perspective, I'll just straight up say it, was built on the premise that I would be living in Japan and bringing in all these other ideas that I really want to throw in. Because there's a lot of J-vloggers out there, and I respect the heck out of them, because they all have their own unique flavor of J-vlogging. The kind of J-vlogging I want to do, not a lot of people are doing. Really, not a lot of people are doing. And it's one thing for me to be able to go over as a tourist and try to accomplish some of these goals, but it's different. It's way different if I can get a company backing, and a company who can go up to either individuals or other organizations and be like, hey, we have this idea based on this location or this store or whatever, you know, and actually get permission to do the things that I want to do, rather than having to hide myself away and do it. But anyway, that's another big thing that I really want to take care of when it comes to freaking 2020, is working through my stupid imposter syndrome. And then the last thing that I really wanted to deal with and look into and conquer is time. It was actually last weekend in my Taiko group. One of the guys there who I trust his word a lot. I trust his ability to analyze myself, himself, a lot. And he said, your biggest problem right now is that you do not have structure. And he's 100% correct. He's 100% correct. I am not allocating time to everything that I need to allocate my time to, because I'm spending so much time trying to make more content, because that's what every algorithm, it's not a YouTube thing, every single algorithm of every single social media video posting site, doesn't matter. It is put more on here, Put more on here as much as humanly or inhumanly possible, because that's what gets us attention as a company and will make us money as a company. And it is the most unsustainable lifestyle I've ever seen. I mean, I'm old enough to remember, back in my day, I remember when we had flip phones and our cars didn't have computers. I mean, I kid, but I'm old enough to remember those days. I remember how less complicated things were. But now it's like, man, if you want to be in this business, you got to devote yourself. There is so much obsession with specialization right now that it hinders me. And it's hindered a lot of other YouTubers that I've seen, because if you don't specify exactly what you do in a tiny microcosm, well, you're just not going to get anywhere, buck. But I digress. I've just not had structured time, because I'm constantly throwing myself at my work. I'm constantly throwing myself at sustainability. It's something that I've actually talked to my therapist about. And yes, I am seeing a therapist. I highly suggest anyone see a therapist. I don't care how well put together you think your brain is, I'd still say go see a therapist, especially now more than ever considering the times. And what's been happening is that I am so obsessed with trying to not only maintain what I currently have, but also try and get people more interested in it, that I'm sitting here stagnating like absolute crazy. I am not giving myself time. I'm not giving myself time to come up with brand new ideas like I did with things like Witch Ninja or even Gaijin Perspective. I am so obsessed with making sure that I am earning the living that I need in order to support myself and my wife, and very soon, some of my other family members, that I am not allocating any time for anything. And it's so dangerous. It is so dangerous for a creative mind to be stuck in stagnation, because it's the complete antithesis of what you should be doing. Like, case in point, I have not allocated time for personal research in years. I will allocate time for research for things that I think might do good for videos, but I have not allocated any time for my own personal research. Personal research is how I started this channel, all my other channels, and all my other projects in the first place. It is the reason why I've been able to have this amazing job that I would not trade for the freaking world. I know I'm sitting here complaining about my work, but let me reiterate as many times as humanly possible, I love the job that I'm doing. I believe it's exactly where I need to be, and I can't imagine myself doing anything else. Maybe in different variations of what I'm doing. Maybe different platforms, maybe different shows, different channels, whatever. But I am doing exactly what I've been put on this planet to do. I believe that wholeheartedly. But the problem of all of this is that, like I just got done bellowing about, one, I have no time for personal research. I have no time to sit down and just read a book, which I desperately need to do because I want to stay up to date on new information. But the other problem is that I'm not allocating time for myself for non-monetizable things. One of the greatest pitfalls of being an online content creator is monetizing literally everything that you're good at, or at least you think that you're good at. My biggest thing was Taiko. I know a lot of you have been well, maybe not a lot of you, maybe some of you have been wondering, what the heck ever happened to Taiko Tuesday and my talk of doing a Taiko stream and things like that? I've got the majority of the equipment. I can get the other equipment that I don't have if I really need to. But after talking with my therapist, after talking with other content creators, I've come to the conclusion that, hey, I need to do things that I'm not trying to monetize or make into more online content. And Taiko is definitely one of those big things. Taiko is my escape. It is my one singular escape, 3 hours a week that I get, that does not involve online content creation or the worrying thereof. And to take that and put that into this pile, this massive pile of things that I'm either trying to monetize or sell or trying to develop an online community around, I can't. I can't do that anymore. I can't allow myself to do that anymore. I need to... Maybe once in a while, I'll bust out my electric Taiko, my Taiko 1, and do a little ditty. Maybe from time to time, I'll get my Shinobuoi out and play something here and there. But I badly, badly, badly need to have things for me. Or for my group that's also performing or something along those lines. I don't know. I need more time for me. Which is, going back to the whole idea of having the whole 8 minutes an 8-minute, 10-minute video versus a 15 to 20-minute video, that's the big reason. Because I don't have time for anything else. And if I don't have time for anything else, how can I ever grow and change? How can I ever evolve? How can I ever think of the next Witch Ninja? How can I ever think of the next Gaijin perspective? That's the problem. That is the inherent problem. And the scary thing is that things are still fine, but like I'm sure everyone is suffering from, in fact, I know a lot of people are suffering from it, income is dropping more and more and more. But that's because everyone's income is dropping more and more because of COVID. So I can't be mad at anyone. It would be a horrible, horrible, entitled, BS-ery point to be on, or opinion to take, to blame anyone at all for the fact that, darn, I'm not making as much money as I used to. No one is. So, now more than ever, I need to just take some risks. I need to think of some new ideas, but in order to do that, I have to have time. I have to have time. I'm doing the same thing over and over again, and it's stagnating. And I'm not giving myself time to explore new ideas. And that's what I desperately need. So, those are my goals. Those are my goals for 2022. Those are my goals for this foreseeable future for my content. There's still a lot more I want to do. And please don't take this as I'm doing less. I'm not doing less. I want to stop doing the stagnated thing that I've been doing and do more. I want to feel revitalized and energetic and really raring to go to do new things. Heck, I'd love to be a part of a project that's bigger than myself. I would love to be a part of a project that involves other people. For as much as I never talk about it, I miss the old Fierce days specifically because of that. Because we were a team. We created our content in isolation, perhaps, but we had meetings, we bounced ideas back and forth, we ran things by each other, and some wonderful, amazing things happened and were produced because of that. You don't get that only coming up with things in your own head. I don't want to be alone in my head anymore trying to think of ideas. I'd love to work with people on that. So we're just gonna have to see how that goes. So yeah, this turned into a 20 to 25 minute video. I didn't expect that. So thank you for sticking with me if you listened for this entire thing. I really do appreciate that. It's just a lot to think about. A lot of restructuring I'm gonna have to be doing. So I hope you stick with me as I try and figure all this out. So thank you so much again, everyone. Thank you for your continued support. I always appreciate that. I am not stopping anytime soon. Please don't think that I am. And yeah. Until next time, and hopefully the next big project, this is Gaijin Goomba signing out.